An IT professional from Chicago, USA. Is it permissible for a Muslim who is learning martial arts for self-defense to bow to one another, which is a requirement in most martial arts? There is another question. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Name Sumayya. Profession software engineer. City Miyazaki. Country Japan. The question: Japanese people bow to each other to show respect. Since Muslims only do ruku and sajda for Allah alone, will it be wrong to bow to a human being, even if it is not being done as a form of worship? I try my best to not bow and limit the movement to a slight nod, since it seems a little impolite to stand stiff when the other is showing you respect. I would love to hear your perspective on this matter. Jazakallah khair. The question poses that is it allowed to bow down if you are learning self-defense, martial arts, whether it be judo, taekwondo, whether it be karate, in which almost all these martial arts you bow down. Some bow down to great extent, equal to ruku, some do sajda also, and some do little bowing. Is it permissible? And similarly, is it permissible to greet someone, and while greeting, can you bow? It's clearly mentioned in a hadith of Sunan at-Tirmidhi, volume number 5, hadith number 2728, where Anas bin Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, he said that a man approaches the Messenger of Allah and says that when we meet our brother or meet our friends, should we bow down to each other? The Prophet said no. Should we hug one another and kiss one another? The Prophet said no. Should we take the hand and shake hands? The Prophet said yes. A similar hadith is mentioned in Ibn Majah, volume number 5, hadith number 3702, that Anas bin Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, he says that a man approaches the Messenger of Allah and says that, can we bow to one another? And the Prophet said no. Can we hug or kiss one another? The Prophet said no. You should shake hands. And both these hadith are sahih according to Nasir al-Albani. Sheikh Nasir al-Albani says that both these hadith are Hasan, and he mentions it in his Silsila Sahih. And according to Imam Tirmidhi also, the hadith of Tirmidhi is Hasan. Based on these hadith, most of the scholars, almost all the scholars unanimously agree that if you are doing bowing equivalent to the ruku which you do in Salah, or you are doing sajda like how you do in Salah, almost all the scholars unanimously agree, almost all, not 100%, that this is prohibited. There are some scholars who say that if you bow to the level of ruku which is done in sajda, it is prohibited. But if you bow to a lesser extent, maybe 50% or 25%, and your niyyah is not worship, it is makruh. This is said by Sheikh Nasir al-Awad. Sheikh Nasir al-Umar, he says that if you do not bow to the level of what you bow in your salah, and if you do ruku less than that, 50%, 25%, and your niyyah is not to worship, then it is makruh. There are some scholars in the Western world, including the European Council of Fatwa, they say that for martial arts, for learning of self-defense, if you are bowing, as long as your intention is not worship, it is permissible. But as I told you, the majority of the scholars they are of the opinion that even if you bow less, 50% or less, irrespective whether niyyah is worship or not, it is haram. And according to Shaykh Ibn Qayyum, may Allah be pleased with him, that, may Allah have mercy on him, he says that bowing in any form, whether as we do in salah or less than that, whether in the form of worship, whether in the form of respect, bowing to any other human being is haram. And even the Standing Committee of Fatwa in Saudi Arabia, they have given the fatwa that bowing in any form, even less than the ruku, whether it's for worship or whether it's for respect, whether it be in self-defense, it is prohibited. This question was asked even to Sheikh bin Baz, may Allah have mercy on him, that is bowing permitted in greeting like the Japanese do, or is it permitted while doing martial art? He said bowing in any form, whether for greeting or whether for martial art, it is prohibited and should not be done. And I do agree with this majority the majority of the scholars. I do believe in the fatwa of Shaykh Ibn Qayyum and Shaykh bin Baz that bowing in any form, whether same as ruku or whether less, whether it is for respect, whether it's for worship, all these forms, whether it be greeting, I feel it should not be done and it is not permitted in Islam.